What is up, my friends? Hope you're having a terrific day. If you're like me and you have worked or are currently working on a computer that struggles to play back footage in Premiere Pro, then this is the video for you. I'm gonna quickly walk you through how to create proxies in Premiere Pro. Proxies are essentially a low-res version of your original video clip that you can easily toggle on and off while you're editing. It will give you smoother playback, and for some of you, peace of mind, not wanting to throw your computer against the wall. All right, let's jump into it. Okay, so we brought our footage folder into Premiere. In the folder, we have two different frame rates, 24 FPS and 60 FPS. Before, it took an arm and a leg to figure out how to create 60 frames per second proxies. So make sure you have the latest version of Premiere and also Adobe Media Encoder. Media Encoder is the software we will use to make our proxies. So make sure you have that downloaded and updated. Go over to your footage and hit Command A to highlight all of your clips, right-click, modify, and let's interpret our footage. Select Assume this frame rate and type in 23.976. Now hit OK. All right, now that our footage is properly interpreted to the correct frame rate of our project, let's make those proxies. Again, highlight all of your clips, right-click and select Proxy. Then hit Create Proxies. For format, select QuickTime, and for preset, select ProRes Low Resolution Proxy for the smoothest playback. Let's select Add Watermark so that anytime you toggle on your proxies, you will see a little low opacity watermark over it. This will easily let you know that your proxies are on. Under Destination, let's hit Next to Original Media in Proxy folder. All right, let's hit OK. As soon as you hit OK, Media Encoder will open up and begin creating your proxies. Depending on your computer specs and amount of proxies you're making, this should be a good time to sit back, grab a coffee, and wait until they're done. Okay, proxies are done. Let's jump back into Premiere to review. Let's drag our footage into our B-roll selects timeline. You can download our Premiere Pro timeline presets in the description down below. Now, let's see if our proxies are working properly. To turn them on or off, you're gonna toggle this little icon here called Toggle Proxies. And as you can see, when I turn them on, the icon turns blue and my watermark pops up on the screen. Okay, pretty simple. Now this one is even easier. There are a few different camera options out there that can record proxies simultaneously with your original video clips. So for example, when I'm shooting on my Zcam S6, I typically like to shoot in 6K. 6K doesn't play nice with most computer setups. Cool thing is, I can record low resolution proxies simultaneously along with my original 6K footage. Here's how to properly use them in Premiere. Once you add your footage folder into your Premiere project, make sure to attach all of your proxies first, then we will interpret any 60 frames per second footage into 24 frames per second. So hit Command A to highlight all of your footage, right click and hit Proxy, then attach proxies, then click Attach. If your camera shoots proxies simultaneously in camera, it should create a separate proxy folder. So all you do is double click into the proxy folder and hit search. Once it finds a matching clip, the search button will turn blue. Just hit OK and bang, your proxies are all attached. Okay, this part is where it differs from the other proxy workflow we showed first. So we just attached our proxies that our camera shot internally. And now we need to interpret our 60 frames per second footage to 24 frames per second. But if we do it like we normally do by right-clicking, hitting Modify, typing in 23.976, and hitting OK, then you can see that when I play it back that the original clip is in slow motion, but my proxy isn't. That's because interpreting that way will only affect the original clip, not the proxy. So the best way to interpret both clips is after attaching your proxies, let's go to List View by hitting this little icon here. We want to filter our 60 frames per second with our 24 frames per second footage since we aren't needing to interpret our 24 frames per second footage. Make sure this frame rate arrow is pointing down, and now all of our 60 frames per second footage is at the top. So select the top clip, hold Shift, then scroll down to the last 60 frames per second clip, and while holding Shift, select the clip. Now right click and hit Speed Duration. I have speed duration set to S on my keyboard. Now let's change the speed to 40%, since 40% of 60 frames is 24. All right, now let's play it back. Smooth. Now we have properly attached our in-camera proxies. One last issue some of you may face is when you're trying to attach proxies that your camera simultaneously shot For example, you shot on a Sony a7S III, turned on proxies, but Premiere isn't able to find them. That's because, for whatever reason, the a7S III proxy clips have a slightly different file name than the original clip, so Premiere won't be able to link them. You will have to do it manually. And depending on how many proxy clips you need to attach, it might be a pain. But it's 10,000% better attaching proxies than to work with footage that is slow, laggy playback. Taking a few minutes to manually attach them will save you hours of working through laggy playback. Right-click your footage, hit proxy, attach proxies, then find your proxy folder. There should be a changing number for each file, and that's the one you want to link when manually attaching proxies. Once you find the correct file, double-click it and keep moving down the list to attach them all. Hopefully I covered all of the proxy workflows and any issues you might face. If you're still having trouble, drop a comment below and I'd be happy to help. If this video helped you at all, please be sure to like this video, and to watch more content like this, please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys a whole bunch, and I'll see you in the next one.